right?
No, I just had the wrong number.
Oh, okay. Right. So this is Senate Bill 34, which is a bill that would repeal the 2004 law requiring you to prove immigration status to get a driver's license. The bill would basically allow about 300,000 people to obtain a driver's license. I would say this is probably the #1 issue in the Latino community, of which my district is about 23%. Everybody that's looked at this in other states, the other 17 states have done this. They've seen a decline in car accidents, a decline in hit and run cases. They've seen an increase in vehicles being titled in their state. The Commonwealth Institute looked at this, and they've estimated that by adopting this, Virginia will see between $10 and $17 million of additional revenue into the DMV from driver's license fees, car title, cars being titled here. They didn't even get into auto insurance premiums or income taxes, which will come to the state. To me, this is a public safety issue. It's also a quality of life issue. People need to be able to drive to the doctor, take their kids to sporting games, to school, drive to work without fear of being prosecuted. And the committee needs to pass it. I'll also just note there will be an impact on the DMV for staffing. They estimate between 260 and 300,000 people are going to come to apply for a license. There's a $5 test retake fee that's included in the bill. In other states that have done this, Commissioner Holcomb has indicated that the typical applicant takes 2 to 3 times to pass the driving test, and they believe that the additional fee revenue from that will cover the impact on staffing. And so I would hope the committee would pass the bill. There's a lot of people behind me. I don't think you're taking testimony, but I think this bill needs to pass. I also appreciate Senator Boysko's support. She's been working with me on this issue for 5 years.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Norman.
Madam Chairman, I would inquire, wasn't this bill in subcommittee this morning?
Yes.
I wonder if we could hear from Adam what the recommendation of the subcommittee is.
Further inquiry, did it not ultimately fail to be recommended on a 4-4 vote?
I don't think so.
What? Thank you.
Adam, it was recommended reporting on a 4-3 vote in the subcommittee. Okay. Is there a motion on the bill? I would move to report the bill. It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just inquiring, was it in the form of a substitute? Or has it been changed from the committee that referred it here?
No, there was no recommended amendments. It's
Okay.
the Finance Subcommittee. There's a Transportation Committee substitute.
Is it basically in the form that you introduced it? Does it still require a passport?
No. So the bill that I introduced was for a temporary driver privilege card.
Okay.
And that's the bill I've been carrying for 5 years. And that bill would have created a 1-year temporary privilege card that has to be renewed every year. And it would require the showing that you're paying income taxes, and there would be identity verification requirements on that bill. Senator Boysko put in a bill that simply repealed the 2004 restriction or requirement that you show legal status to get a driver's license. And because the DMV is elected to go with both Real ID and our traditional license, by repealing the legal status requirement on the regular license, these folks could just get a regular driver's license now. They cannot get a Real ID without proving legal presence. So the Transportation Committee felt that Senator Boysko's approach was the better approach. And so they took her bill, incorporated it into mine, and substituted her bill on top of mine. And so that's the approach that's in front of the committee right now.
Okay. Madam Chair, just follow
Yes.
up on that. My reason for inquiring is if it's changed significantly, I was prepared to vote for the bill as I understood it, and now I don't actually know what is in front of me because I haven't had an opportunity to read
Right.
it.
The bill in front of you right now, Madam Chairman, can I address him?
Yeah.
So the bill in front of you right now just removes the requirement that you show legal presence. So you have to prove your identity as any other Virginian would have to prove their identity to get a driver's license. Whatever you would have to show, Senator Hanger, they would have to show to prove their identity to get a license from the DMV. And that could be done with a passport, it could be done in a lot of different ways, but, I mean, if you want, the DMV, I'm sure, could tell you the different ways you can prove identity to get a license, but they're pretty stringent, I think. The only difference between that and a real ID, you got to show legal presence to get a real ID.
Senator Norman, then Senator McClellan, then Senator Peterson.
I apologize, I also haven't had an opportunity to read this version of it. Help me, must the individual to get this temporary driving privilege card,
It's not a temporary card.
whatever the heck it is, comply with real ID? Do they have to? They do not.
They can't get a real ID.
I understand, Senator Saslaw. They do not have to comply.
Not with real ID.
Okay.
They have to comply with the standards you do today, minus the legal presence.
Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Partially in response to Senator Hanger's question, the difference between the introduced version and this version, and part of the reason why the Transportation Committee went forward with the substitute, under Senator Surville's original bill, DMV would have 3 different types of IDs: a real ID compliant ID, a non-real ID compliant ID, and a temporary privilege card. Under the substitute, DMV, as it does today, will have 2 types of driver's license: a real ID compliant one and a non-real ID compliant one. And so the Transportation Committee felt that it was easier to incorporate what Senator Surville was trying to do in what DMV is currently doing by just having 2 different licenses, one that's real ID compliant and one that is not.
Senator Peterson.
I was just going to say, just to keep this very simple, in 2004, we changed the existing law to basically add legal presence.
Right.
And so we're going back to how the law was pre-2004.
Right.
Thank you.
Are there further questions?
I'm sorry.
Senator Norman.
I apologize, Madam Chairman, because I'm trying to read this thing very quickly. Senator Surville, if they don't have a Social Security number or an individual tax identification number, then they can certify that such a number has not been issued.
Right.
Madam Chairman, my question is, who is certifying it?
The applicant.
Madam Chairman, what is the protection that the applicant is being less than truthful?
Because they could be prosecuted for a felony charge if they lie.
Madam
Same
Chairman,
as
Senator
Senator
Surville,
Norman.
you practice criminal law.
Is that
Senator
is that a
Sassau.
question? Or,
I don't have a question, but let me just tell you all something.
Proceed with the lease, unless you-
There hasn't been an immigrant group that's come to this country that hasn't made us a better country for it. And, you know, I don't care what group it is, they've all made us a better country. Are there bad eggs in these groups? Sure. Every single immigrant group that's come here has had some bad eggs in it, every last one. And believe you me, I know, okay? Don't ask me for details. But you know, like I said, we're better off for it. They made us a better country. The current crop of people who are immigrants, and you know, we've got some immigration laws that make it awful tough, you know, to get here. A few years ago, the Washington Post did a story on our immigration laws, and they pointed out that if Albert Einstein were to apply for immigration to the United States from Germany, it would take 7 years for him to get in. These kinds of things ought not to exist, and I would move the bill be reported.
It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. Further discussion. All in favor, record your vote. Aye. Opposed, nay.
11 ayes, 5 nays.
11 ayes, 5 nays. The bill's reported. We don't